50 Cent later stirred the pot further by claiming the rift with Big Meech had nothing to do with business or money but was deeply personal, suggesting that Meech grew uncomfortable with how close he and Lil Meech had become. According to 50, tensions escalated when he stepped in during a troubling period in Lil Meech's life. Allegedly footing the bill for rehab and trying to steer him away from reckless behavior, while accusing Big Meech of encouraging those same destructive habits. He even pointed to incidents on set, including one where Meech reportedly vomited during a weapons test, with whippets later found in his car. Lil Meech himself had once praised 50 for shaping his path, covering acting classes, mentoring him, and giving him the breakout role that launched his career. Yet, reports surfaced claiming Meech squandered more than $5 million in just 3 years, blowing it on jewelry, luxury cars, and designer brands rather than making smart investments. To some, 50's public criticisms come across as harsh but necessary tough love, while others view them as inconsistent and targeted. Take aim at the BMF family over loyalty issues, while ignoring similar questions within his own circle. From the moment Chrisean Rock announced her pregnancy, the internet treated every move like an open case file. Supporters cheered her on, but critics constantly circled back to her past, her late-night chaos, headline-making fights, and impulsive choices. By the time her son was born, what should have been a private, joyful milestone turned into yet another round of public scrutiny. Every outing, every Instagram post, even the way she looked at her baby in photos, became ammo for debates about her fitness as a mother. The pressure was relentless, but Chrisean refused to shrink herself. She kept moving, loud and unapologetic, as she always had. That single moment, a sly sip of champagne caught in a dimly lit dinner setting, became the spark that sent Chrisean's name surging across social media yet again. The scene itself seemed harmless at first. Friends and industry peers gathered around a long table, their laughter echoing through the room as waiters slid glass after glass across the polished surface. Chrisean, seated in the middle of the commotion, picked up one of the glasses, smirked knowingly at the phone cameras hovering nearby, and took a slow, deliberate sip. The act lasted only a few seconds, yet it was enough for someone to record and upload it online. Within minutes, the clip spread like wildfire, bouncing across group chats, Instagram stories, and Twitter feeds until it dominated timelines. By sunrise, the judgment had poured in from every direction, with thousands of comments painting her as reckless and irresponsible. Did she really leave the baby at home for this? One viral post read, while another slammed her with, "She's breastfeeding, what is she thinking?" Others took it even further, tagging Blueface and demanding that he step in for custody, as if the video itself was proof that Chrisean was unfit to be a mother. The outrage ignited debates that extended well beyond her fanbase, drawing in parenting, blogs, gossip sites, and even mainstream outlets eager to dissect the optics. For critics, the video was not just a bad look, it was a symbol of repeated poor judgment, evidence of her inability to separate nightlife indulgences from motherhood responsibilities. But for her defenders, the entire uproar felt exaggerated. Another instance of the internet piling onto Chrisean for doing what countless others do without consequence. They pointed out that a single sip of alcohol was hardly grounds for questioning her parenting, accusing critics of weaponizing her past mistakes to frame her in the worst possible light. Yet, the reality was that perception mattered, and in the age of viral media, perception often carried more weight than facts. In that moment, whether fair or not, the story shifted from Chrisean the artist to Chrisean the mother under scrutiny. The champagne glass became more than just a prop in a casual night out, it turned into a lightning rod for controversy, one that reignited old criticisms and pushed her into another cycle of headlines. Every share, every repost, every heated comment thread added to the snowball effect, until what should have been a fleeting clip of nightlife banter evolved into a full-blown cultural conversation about responsibility, motherhood, and public image. And for Chrisean, who has often walked the fine line between chaotic authenticity and calculated performance, the fallout was yet another reminder of how quickly the internet can turn a private moment into a public trial, with her parenting, her choices, and even her future once again dragged into the spotlight. But Chrisean is not built to sit silently while the world writes her story. When she finally went live, the energy shifted instantly. The camera lit up her face, jaw tight, eyes burning with the kind of anger that comes from feeling cornered. She didn't cry or fumble. She stared straight into the lens like she was staring down every critic. "Y'all got me messed up," she snapped, her voice slicing through the scrolling comments. She called out the so-called concerned voices who claimed to know her life better than she did. And then she dropped the twist: that glass in the viral video. Not champagne at all. Sparkling apple juice. Non-alcoholic. A detail that didn't fit the messy story people wanted to tell about her. For Chrisean, the moment wasn't just about defending herself, it was about reclaiming control of her narrative. She made it clear, she wouldn't bend to the internet's impossible standard of perfect motherhood, nor let strangers reduce her to a single clip. The viral sip wasn't just about a drink, it was about power, perception, and the exhausting weight of being judged at every turn. And in true Chrisean Rock fashion, she didn't just push back. She flipped the script. Would you like me to expand this into a long-form, feature-style piece like something from Rolling Stone, or the cut that dives into her history? The pressures of motherhood in the spotlight, and why this moment resonated so strongly. The revelation hit like a heavy blow, sparking a frenzy of real-time debates among viewers. Some quickly sided with her, arguing the drink in her hand did seem darker than champagne, while others accused her of fabricating the story to protect her image. But before anyone could take a firm stance, she pressed forward with raw defiance, insisting that even if it had been champagne, which, she swore, it was not, she was an adult, fully capable of making her own choices as a mother. Her voice cracked, not from fragility but from anger, as she spoke about sleepless nights, controlling influences in her inner circle, and supposed friends betraying her trust by leaking private matters to gossip blogs. She pointed out the hypocrisy, reminding everyone that many critics had her number yet chose to sell screenshots instead of reaching out. Then came the shocker: she declared she already knew who filmed the champagne clip, and it was not some random bystander. It was someone she had recently allowed back into her life, someone who had betrayed her once before. With a bitter smirk, she teased, "I won't drop names yet, but just know you'll find out soon enough. I've kept every receipt." The livestream erupted as fans begged for answers, tossing out names, even Blueface, but she refused to confirm, instead dropping cryptic hints about a person who professed love for her child, who had been inside her home, smiling in her face while secretly aligning with her enemies. The darkest part of her revelation came when she accused this traitor of leaking intimate details about her postpartum struggles to outsiders. What looked like a glass of champagne quickly unraveled into something much bigger. Chrisean told her viewers this wasn't about alcohol at all, it was about tearing her down, painting her as unstable, and ultimately trying to take her child away. That claim sent the comments section into chaos, with fans demanding clarity. Was she suggesting there was a custody scheme at play? And if so, who was pulling the strings? Blueface's family, old enemies, or someone else entirely? She refused to name names, repeating only that she had proof and that the champagne video was part of a wider smear campaign. While she was still live, gossip accounts began circulating screenshots, allegedly from Chrisean herself, where she wrote, "They think they slick, but I'm ready for war." Within minutes, those screenshots were everywhere. By 2 a.m., things escalated further, when a new clip surfaced on a private gossip forum, grainy, low-lit, but damning. At the 12-second mark, someone off-camera poured liquid from a dark green bottle with a gold label, ace of spades, champagne, straight into her glass. Not apple juice, not soda. The uploader added a cutting caption, "Sparkling juice, haha." The video spread like wildfire. Soon, hashtags like #ChampagneGate and #CaughtChrissie dominated time. Viewers dissected every frame, zooming in on the label, comparing cork pops with official ads, and calling out inconsistencies between clips. Her supporters fought back, arguing bottles can be reused and refilled, while critics blasted her with side-by-side breakdowns, mocking, "The lies aren't adding up." But the real shock came when two major gossip outlets reported identical tips, both pointing the finger at someone inside her circle. The alleged leaker wasn't a random stranger, but a woman recently seen in multiple Instagram stories with Chrisean. Suddenly, the betrayal narrative gained traction. An anonymous DM to one gossip blog fanned the flames even more. The person who filmed this is mad because Chrisean stopped paying their rent. This is payback. They've been feeding blogs for weeks. Hours later, an audio recording leaked, allegedly, the same friend laughing about getting receipts on Chrisean, saying, "Once this hits the blogs, she's done." That clip ignited the internet. What had begun as a debate over a drink had morphed into something darker: accusations of sabotage, financial betrayal, and an orchestrated takedown from within. Social media went into full detective mode, with some swearing they recognized the voice, and others convinced this wasn't about champagne at all, but about dismantling Chrisean Rock from the inside out. Would you like me to condense this into a single flowing paragraph like I did with your earlier request, or keep it structured in sections for clarity? Some speculated the leak came from an ex-assistant, while a viral TikTok pointed the finger at a friend of Blueface's sister, linking the chaos back to old family disputes. Chrisean herself stayed silent after her live stream, breaking it only with a cryptic Instagram story plain black background, stark white text, no emojis reading, "You think you winning, but God sees everything." The mystery deepened when a gossip blog, known for stirring drama between Chrisean and Blueface, claimed the second clip had not surfaced by accident but was actually sold. Their receipts suggested the seller demanded both cash and crypto to avoid a trace. By evening, the controversy was snowballing, drawing in celebrities eager for attention. One rapper tweeted that if his friends secretly recorded him, it would mean war, while a reality star blasted the betrayal as snake energy, calling on women to stand together. Just as the internet settled on blaming a friend, another twist shifted the narrative entirely. A new source alleged the footage was captured, not by an insider in her circle, but by a staff member working the event, bribed to keep the camera rolling. Even more explosive was the claim that the briber was not a faceless hater, but a rival artist Chrisean had subtly shaded for months. What began as whispers about a drink spiraled into accusations of sabotage, hidden agendas, and industry rivalries designed to tear her down at her most vulnerable moment. The so-called reveal split the internet right down the middle. To some, it sounded like yet another excuse to dodge accountability. To others, it fit perfectly with a trail of cryptic tweets, shady lyrics, and even paparazzi shots of the rumored rival artist sharing a meal with a blue-faced family member earlier in the summer. By the close of the day, nobody knew what to believe, but everyone knew the saga was far from finished. By morning, #ChampagneGate had exploded beyond simple gossip into a cultural firestorm. Twitter threads were dissecting each frame of both clips like evidence in a trial. TikTok sleuths slowed down the footage to dramatic soundtracks and freeze-framed the moment the label gleamed in the light. While Reddit ran live polls on whether Chrisean was lying or being framed, results flipping hour by hour like an election night tally. The frenzy wasn't confined to fans anymore. The industry itself started picking sides. A Grammy-nominated singer defended Chrisean, insisting a single drink didn't disqualify someone from being a good mother. A love and hip-hop personality went live claiming insider knowledge of a setup, then abruptly cut the feed before naming names. A famous boxer weighed in with a warning about snakes in the circle, while a controversial podcaster mocked Chrisean's cryptic Instagram story with a sarcastic prayer about Ace of Spades. Meanwhile, gossip blogs escalated the drama, one swearing they had not one but 3 videos from that night, 2 still unreleased, allegedly showing Chrisean sipping for real. A veteran R&B singer tweeted bluntly, "The truth don't need explaining. Too many stories, sis." Fans mirrored the splits and flooded her comments with hearts and messages of unwavering support. Others with snake emojis and memes about apple juice in luxury bottles. Then came the amateur investigations. Twitter detectives tried matching background laughs to voices in Chrisean's circle. Others zoomed in on reflections in glassware to pinpoint who filmed from what angle. TikTok forensic experts claimed the footage was shot by someone standing, fueling the theory it was a staff member, not a friend. Industry blogs only muddied the waters further. One claimed leaked emails proved a rival artist had booked the venue days earlier for a secret meeting, while another alleged a Blueface family member had spoken with venue management just before Chrisean's appearance. By then, the discourse had ballooned into something bigger than a drink. It was being framed as sabotage, revenge, and possibly even a brewing custody battle. Some online sleuths swore the whole fiasco was orchestrated, a publicity stunt engineered by Chrisean herself to build hype before a major announcement. But then came the curveball nobody anticipated. A popular morning radio host claimed on air that he'd spoken with someone who actually worked at the venue. Their account flipped the story upside down. The person behind the camera wasn't a waiter, a close friend, or even a rival artist. It was a media plant. According to this source, the individual had been sent there specifically to catch a compromising moment, the kind of footage that guaranteed headlines. The host refused to expose the outlet allegedly responsible, but his delivery made one thing clear: this wasn't accidental. Somebody wanted drama, and they'd succeeded spectacularly. The revelation ignited the internet once again. Was this the work of a rival, a tabloid, a Blueface, insider, or all three forces conspiring together? By the end of the day, fans were drained, divided, and more obsessed than ever. Through it all, Chrisean gave no signs of backing down. Late that night, she posted a single chilling message against a black background. "I'm about to make y'all real uncomfortable with the truth. Watch." 2 days of non-stop speculation had the internet in a frenzy, but nothing could have prepared anyone for what came next. At 8 p.m. sharp, Chrisean went live. No glam, no filters, just a hoodie pulled tight and her phone angled in a dimly lit room. Her eyes carried the weight of someone who hadn't slept in days. She didn't ease into it. She dropped straight into the fire. "Y'all want the truth? I'll give it to you. And after tonight, some people better stay off the internet completely." Within minutes, over 50,000 people had tuned in. She scrolled through her camera roll until she found what she was looking for. Then, with a calm hand, she turned her phone toward the screen. The video played the same night, the same champagne bottle butt from her own perspective. This time, the footage captured what the viral clip hadn't: a man in a black hoodie, discreetly refilling the bottle with a clearly labeled jug of Martinelli's sparkling cider hidden under the table. The chat went into meltdown. "This changes everything," flooded the comments. Chrisean let the clip roll, then leaned close to the camera. "They cut the first half out so y'all wouldn't see this. This was never about a drink, it was about destroying me." And she wasn't finished. She alleged that the culprit wasn't just one person but a network. A so-called friend who had wormed their way back into her circle. That same friend romantically tied to an employee at the venue, and that employee allegedly connected to a rising female rapper Chrisean had thrown shade at in a freestyle last year. They plotted this together, she said, her voice steady. "And baby, I got the receipts." From beside her, she pulled out a small black folder and held up blurred screenshots of text exchanges. The messages, though partially redacted, discussed getting the perfect shot and editing the first half so the clip would look real. The live chat detonated, thousands of viewers spamming disbelief, shock, and vindication all at once. Would you like me to continue this rewritten series into the fallout after she dropped those receipts? How the industry, fans, and blogs react? Keep it focused on just the reveal moment. Viewers were practically begging her to pull the curtain all the way back, drop the names, release the raw footage, expose every detail. Blogs were being tagged non-stop, pressured to repost the uncut video. For a second, it felt like she was on the verge of detonating the entire situation. But instead, Chrisean leaned back, gave a sly smile that said more than words ever could, and shut it all down. "Nah, I'm not dropping it here. Y'all will see it when I'm ready. And trust me, it's not going to be pretty." Then just like that, the live ended. Within minutes, Twitter turned into a battlefield. Hashtags like #fullbottle videos started trending, timelines filled with dueling theories. To some, she had just redeemed herself, putting the champagne scandal to rest. To others, the new footage felt too neat, too well-timed, fueling claims that the Martinelli's angle had been staged afterward as a desperate cover-up. Conspiracy threads spread like wildfire, dissecting everything from the lighting in the clip to the way the bottle label glinted against the flash. Then came the tweet that sent everything into overdrive. A cryptic message from the rumored rival artist appeared on the timeline. "When you play dirty, don't cry when you get mud on your face." It didn't name names, but everyone knew who it was aimed at. Was it a warning, a threat, or the start of an all-out industry war? Whatever it meant, it poured gasoline on an already raging fire. What made the moment even wilder was Chrisean's promise that she still hadn't shown her full hand. She claimed to have receipts, messages, proof, connections that could blow the story wide open. And yet, she hadn't revealed the unblurred texts. She hadn't named the so-called rival artist outright, which left fans wondering, is she holding back because the truth is uglier than anyone realizes? Or is she carefully building the stage for the most explosive reveal of her career? That's where the internet sits now, split, clean down the middle. On one side are the die-hard supporters who see her as a victim of betrayal, snakes in her circle trying to sabotage her reputation. On the other side are skeptics convinced she's orchestrating a distraction, running damage control with perfectly timed evidence and strategic silence. Both sides are locked in, refreshing timelines, waiting for the next shoe to drop. But here's the thing. If you've been following this saga, you know Chrisean doesn't move without a plan. That smirk at the end of her live wasn't random, it was a warning shot. She's cooking something, and when she finally lets it loose, the fallout is going to be massive. Whether it's vindication or exposure, the reveal is coming, and it'll make everything so far look tame. So the question now isn't what happened, it's whose story you believe. Are you in her corner, convinced she's been set up from the start? Or are you in the camp that thinks the receipts don't quite add up? One thing's for sure, this storm isn't dying down anytime soon. In fact, it's only gathering strength. Because in celebrity drama, the drama doesn't fade, it mutates, escalates, and keeps the world watching. Do you want me to rewrite this in a more storytelling podcast narration style, like you're listening to a breakdown tone, or keep it as digital commentary style, like a viral YouTube recap?